Warning, the following contains spoilers. Watch at your own risk. Oh, just kidding. While Georgie and Mandy's first marriage isn't entirely predictable, the Young Sheldon spin-off does have an issue with one recurring plot element. The title of Young Sheldon's spin-off, Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage, lets viewers know the premise of the series, but also introduces the audience to the biggest potential problem with the show. Like the earlier sitcom How I Met Your Mother, Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage is a sitcom whose eventual ending is already written in stone. By Young Sheldon's finale, Georgie and Mandy Cooper were a happily married young couple who were raising their daughter, Cece, and things seemed to be looking pretty positive for the duo. Georgie lost his father at a tragically young age to a sudden heart attack, but he and Mandy were happy together, and the pair were navigating the perils of marriage and raising a baby daughter, as well as could be expected. This might have been surprising to anyone familiar with the Big Bang Theory's cast of characters, and specifically the earlier show's older version of Georgie. Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage has done the same. Georgie and Jim plot repeatedly. Georgie is effectively an unpaid business consultant for McAllister Auto. When Jerry O'Connell's older Georgie was introduced in The Big Bang Theory, he made a reference to his ex-wife. Although Georgie ran a successful chain of tire stores in Texas, he was a bitter man who held a grudge against his younger brother for failing to help him support his mother and sister after their father's death. In The Big Bang Theory Season 11, Episode 23, The Sibling Realignment, Georgie and Sheldon buried this beef by finally acknowledging how hard losing their father was for both brothers. However, Georgie's failed marriage still casts a long shadow over young Sheldon. Viewers already know that Georgie and Mandy's marriage will end in separation, so it is only a matter of time before Georgie and Mandy's first marriage explains why this divorce happened. Unfortunately, Georgie and Mandy's first marriage sets up the breakup too obviously with a recurring plot that has plagued the show throughout its first season. In episode 13, McAllister Auto Loves the Ladies, Georgie and Mandy's father, Jim, get into yet another conflict, this time over making their shared workplace more amenable to female customers. Georgie is constantly trying to improve McAllister Auto so he can make more money to support Mandy and Cece, while his staid, traditional father-in-law Jim is forever shutting down his proposed changes. Some variations of this plot recurred in McAllister Auto Loves the Ladies, Episode 11, Working for the Enemy, Episode 9, A Tire Convention and the Moral High Ground, and Episode 7, A Regular Samaritan. These episodes all made the store a nexus of conflict in the family. Throughout these episodes, Georgie took new tires from a cheaper supplier, courted a church's congregants as potential consumers, and almost broke Jim's trust. Unfortunately, Georgie and Mandy's first marriage doesn't have a choice but to regularly do a tire shop storyline. Jim and Georgie's shared story sets up the Big Bang Theory's version of Georgie. With 4 stories centered on a conflict surrounding work at the tire store, almost a third of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage's entire first season has focused on variations of the same storyline. To make matters worse, Episode 12, Typhoid Georgie, arguably fits in there too, since it focuses on Georgie's struggle with leaving the store while sick. Luckily, George Sr.'s Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage comeback meant that Typhoid Georgie had something more to offer viewers than the usual fights between Georgie and the McAllister family over how to run the store. Nonetheless, Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage clearly focuses too much on Jim and Georgie working together, and repeatedly returning to this theme inevitably gets tired. That said, the plot is somewhat unavoidable. After all, the tire store is the McAllister family's source of income and Georgie's future industry. The Big Bang Theory's Georgie eventually owns his own chain of tire stores, meaning he either opens a rival business or buys Jim out and rebrands. Either way, the tire store can't not be part of the spin-off story. How Georgie and Mandy's first marriage can change things up between Georgie and Jim. First marriage's repetitive plots make the main breakup's cause too obvious. Georgie will inevitably need to strike out on his own sooner or later, but for now, viewers are finding out firsthand where he got the experience to do so. However, this doesn't necessarily need to be a tedious, repetitive, or perfunctory part of the show. Much like Georgie and Mandy's first marriage can remember Sheldon without needing a literal on-screen return from the character, the spin-off could make Jim and Georgie's dynamic more surprising as the show continues. Thanks for watching.